Let me tell you about the day a 19-year-old kid walked into a mathematics classroom and brought down an empire built on lies. This isn't just some feel-good story about beating the odds. This is about what happens when power meets its match, when secrets buried for decades finally claw their way to the surface, and when someone decides that enough is enough. Stick with me, because what you're about to hear will make you question everything you thought you knew about justice, academia, and how far people will go to protect their reputations. So picture this. It's a Tuesday afternoon at one of those elite universities where the buildings have names you can't pronounce and the tuition costs more than most people make in a year. Room 248. Advanced Number Theory. The kind of class that separates the serious students from everyone else. In walks Isaiah Parker. 19 years old, sophomore, scholarship kid from the south side of Chicago. Every single day, same routine. Backpack slung over one shoulder, eyes locked on the floor, straight to the back row. Far corner. The seat nobody else wants. The spot where you can disappear. And disappearing? That's exactly what Isaiah's been doing. Never raises his hand. Never volunteers. Never shows off. His homework's solid, nothing flashy. B+ average. Unremarkable. Safe. Nobody notices him, and that's precisely how he wants it. But here's the thing about staying invisible. Eventually, someone decides to drag you into the light whether you're ready or not. Professor Richard Hartwell stands at the front of that classroom like he owns it. And honestly, he kind of does. 23 years of tenure. 6-figure salary. Publications in journals most people have never heard of. The kind of professor who treats his classroom like a kingdom and himself like the king who rules it. Students call his course the graveyard. Where GPAs go to die. Where ambitious young minds learn exactly where they stand in the pecking order. Hartwell loves that reputation. Feeds off it, actually. He'll tell anyone who listens that he's just maintaining standards, weeding out the students who don't belong. Never mind that 3 formal complaints of racial bias got filed against him in the last 5 years. Never mind that 3 black students said he targeted them, humiliated them, pushed them out. All 3 complaints? Dismissed. Insufficient evidence. When you've got powerful friends in the administration, problems have a way of vanishing. Now, on this particular Tuesday, Hartwell's got that look in his eye. That predatory gleam that means someone's about to suffer for his entertainment. He scans the classroom, looking for his victim. And his gaze lands on the back row. On Isaiah. You. Back there. The black one. Stand up. Isaiah rises. Heart pounding, but his face stays calm. He's learned how to hide what he's feeling. Had to. Look at this, everyone, Hartwell's voice drips with contempt. A black face in advanced number theory. Tell me, did your welfare caseworker fill out your application? Or did some diversity committee drag you here to meet their quota? The room goes silent. That uncomfortable kind of silence where everyone knows something wrong is happening, but nobody wants to be the one to say it. Hartwell grabs the chalk, turning to the blackboard with theatrical flair. I'm going to write an equation up here. An impossible equation. PhDs have tried and failed. Geniuses have quit. And you, he points the chalk at Isaiah like a weapon, you're going to prove why kids like you don't belong in real mathematics. The chalk screeches against the board. Numbers and symbols spreading like a disease. And Isaiah just stands there, staring at what's being written. What Professor Hartwell does next will cost him everything. His career. His reputation. The secret he's been hiding for 24 years. But before we get to that moment, before we watch everything explode, you need to understand who Isaiah Parker really is. Because Hartwell? He has absolutely no idea what he's dealing with. And that ignorance is about to destroy him. See, Isaiah Parker isn't just some kid who got lucky with a scholarship. He's been solving graduate-level mathematics since he was 15 years old. Self-taught. No fancy tutors. No expensive prep programs. No connections. Just him, late nights, terrible coffee, and a stack of old notebooks he discovered in his grandmother's attic when he was 13. Those notebooks changed everything. They didn't belong to Isaiah. They belonged to his father. A man named James Parker. A man who died when Isaiah was only 6 years old. Isaiah barely remembers his father. Just fragments, really. A warm hand on his shoulder. The smell of chalk dust on clothes. A voice deep and certain, saying words that would echo in Isaiah's mind forever. Numbers don't lie, son. People do. That's it. That's all he had. A sentence. A feeling. A ghost. His mother never talked about James. Whenever Isaiah brought him up as a kid, she'd change the subject. Her eyes would go somewhere else. Somewhere distant and painful. Eventually, Isaiah stopped asking. His grandmother wasn't much better. She'd just shake her head and say, "Your daddy was a good man. The world wasn't good to him." Then she'd change the subject too. For 13 years, that's all Isaiah knew. His father was good. The world was cruel. End of story. Then came that day in the attic. Boxes of old junk, forgotten memories, dust so thick you could barely breathe. And there, tucked away in a corner, a stack of notebooks with worn covers and yellowed pages. Isaiah opened the first one and saw pages filled with equations, proofs, theories. Mathematical ideas so complex he couldn't even begin to understand them. And in the margins, hundreds of notes written in handwriting that felt strangely, impossibly familiar. He was looking at his father's mind. His father's dreams. His father's unfinished work. He just didn't know it yet. It took years to decode. Isaiah would come home from school, ignore whatever homework his teachers assigned, and disappear into those notebooks instead. Teaching himself. Symbol by symbol. Concept by concept. Building something from nothing. By 15, he wasn't just reading his father's work anymore. He was continuing it. Pushing it forward. Solving problems that graduate students struggled with. By 17, he was quietly, invisibly, one of the most talented young mathematicians you'd never heard of. By 19, he was sitting in that back row at Whitmore University, hiding his gift like a weapon he wasn't ready to use. Nobody knew. Not his professors. Not his classmates. Not even his mother. Isaiah kept everything locked down tight, protected, saved for when he absolutely needed it. He didn't know that moment was about to arrive. He didn't know a 24-year-old secret was about to explode in his face. He didn't know his father's past was waiting for him in that very classroom. So let's go back to Professor Hartwell. Back to that equation on the board. Back to the moment everything changed. Hartwell finishes writing and steps back, admiring his work like an artist admiring a painting. It's complex. Layered. The kind of problem that makes experienced mathematicians break into a cold sweat. A modified Diophantine equation with variables tangled together like a puzzle designed by someone cruel. He turns to face the class, arms crossed, that smug smile plastered across his face. "Here's the deal," Hartwell announces. "Anyone who solves this gets automatic extra credit. Enough to guarantee an A for the semester, no matter what." Whispers ripple through the room. An automatic A in Hartwell's class? That's never happened. Not once. Not ever. But here's the catch. The whispers die instantly. If you try and fail, and you will fail, you drop one full letter grade immediately. No appeals. No second chances. Silence. Nobody moves. Nobody volunteers. Nobody's that stupid. Hartwell scans the room, searching for someone. His eyes lock onto Isaiah. Mr. Parker. His voice cuts through the quiet like a blade. Stand up. Isaiah's stomach drops. Yes, sir? You've been very quiet this semester. Sitting back there, doing the minimum. Almost like you're hiding something. A few students turn around, staring. Judging. Come to the front. Let's see what you've really got. Isaiah walks forward. Each step feels heavier than the last. He can feel 40 pairs of eyes boring into his back. Watching. Waiting for him to fail. Hartwell hands him the chalk. Their fingers touch for just a second. Hartwell's skin feels cold. This equation is from a paper published in the 80s, Hartwell says, his voice carrying to every corner of the room. Mathematicians have worked on it for decades. PhD students have tried. Professors have tried. Nobody's solved it. He leans in closer, dropping his voice to a whisper meant only for Isaiah. Between you and me, I don't think you'll last 30 seconds. Then louder, for everyone to hear, 5 minutes, Mr. Parker. Impress me, or drop my class today. Hartwell turns back to the board and starts writing. The equation spreads across the blackboard like a virus. Complex. Brutal. Designed to break people. He steps back. Your 5 minutes starts now. Isaiah stares at the board. His heart should be racing. His hands should be shaking. Every instinct should be screaming at him to surrender, to admit defeat, to sit back down and survive. But something else is happening. Something stirring in the back of his mind. Recognition. He's seen this equation before. Not in a textbook. Not in class. In a notebook. In his father's handwriting. Dated 1994. The world narrows. The classroom disappears. The watching students fade to nothing. All Isaiah can see is the board. All he can hear is his father's voice echoing across 24 years, numbers don't lie, son. People do. His father worked on this exact problem. And in the margin of that notebook, 3 words, solved. Method C. Isaiah remembers the solution. Every step. Every transformation. Every elegant twist that makes the impossible possible. He raises the chalk. What are you doing? Hartwell laughs. Don't embarrass yourself. Just admit you can't do it. Isaiah starts writing. His hand moves with absolute certainty. Numbers flowing. Symbols aligning. His approach is unconventional. Nothing like what textbooks teach. Nothing like anything Hartwell's ever seen. Because it's not from a textbook. It's from a dead man's notebook. A method that's never been published, never been shared. Until now. 30 seconds pass. Hartwell's smile starts to fade. 60 seconds. Students lean forward. Something unexpected is happening. 90 seconds. The board fills up. The solution takes shape. Hartwell steps closer, his face going pale, his eyes scanning the work with growing horror. That method, he whispers. That's not. Where did you? Isaiah doesn't respond. Doesn't slow down. Doesn't look back. 94 seconds. He sets down the chalk. Steps back. Turns around. Done. The classroom freezes. 94 seconds. That's how long it took to solve an equation that stumped mathematicians for 40 years. Hartwell stares at the board, eyes moving across the solution, checking, rechecking, desperately looking for a mistake. There isn't one. The solution is complete. Correct. Elegant. Beautiful. That's not possible, Hartwell's voice cracks. That's not. You couldn't. It's correct, sir. Isaiah's voice is steady. Calm. You can verify it. One student starts clapping. Then another. Then more. The applause builds. Stop. Hartwell raises his hand. Everyone stop. The applause dies, but the damage is done. A 19-year-old black student from the South Side just solved what a tenured professor couldn't. In front of 40 witnesses. Hartwell spins around, face red, hands trembling. Where did you learn that method? That approach isn't in any textbook. My father taught me. Your father? Something flickers in Hartwell's eyes. Who is your father? His name was James Parker. He died when I was 6. For 1 second, just one, Hartwell's mask shatters. Fear. Recognition. Something that looks almost like panic. Then it's gone. Replaced by ice. Class dismissed. Everyone out. Now. Students grab their bags, rush for the door. The room empties in seconds. Isaiah doesn't move. Mr. Parker. Hartwell's voice is barely controlled. You'll be hearing from me. Word spreads like wildfire. By dinner, half the campus knows. By midnight, everyone's talking. Did you hear? Some sophomore solved Hartwell's impossible equation. In under 2 minutes. Made the old man lose his mind. A black kid from Chicago. Never said a word all semester. Then boom. Students who've never taken a math class are discussing it. Isaiah Parker. The quiet one from the back row. The guy who made Richard Hartwell look like a fool. Isaiah wants nothing to do with it. He goes back to his apartment, locks the door, pulls the blinds, tries to become invisible again. It doesn't work. His phone keeps buzzing. Messages from classmates he's never talked to. Friend requests from people he doesn't know. He ignores them all. What he can't ignore is the feeling in his gut. Something's wrong. The way Hartwell looked at him when he said his father's name, that wasn't surprise. That was recognition. That was fear. 2 days later, Isaiah learns why. The email arrives at 3:47 in the afternoon. Subject line, academic integrity violation. Immediate meeting required. Isaiah reads it 3 times. Each time, the words hit harder. Academic integrity violation. That means cheating. That means expulsion. That means everything he's worked for gone. He walks into Hartwell's office at 4 o'clock sharp. The door closes behind him with a sound like a coffin lid slamming shut. Hartwell sits behind his desk, calm and controlled. A stack of papers arranged perfectly in front of him. Sit down, Mr. Parker. Isaiah sits. The chair's uncomfortable. Probably on purpose. Let me be direct with you. Hartwell's voice is smooth. Professional. Your performance in my classroom 2 days ago has raised serious concerns. Concerns? Your solution to that equation was too perfect. Too fast. Too sophisticated for someone of your background. Isaiah feels heat rising in his chest. My background? Let me put it plainly. Hartwell leans forward. No sophomore solves a problem like that in 90 seconds. Not without help. Not without cheating. I didn't cheat. Then explain it. Explain how a 19-year-old from the South Side of Chicago, working night shifts at a warehouse, barely scraping by on financial aid, somehow solves a problem that's defeated professional mathematicians for 40 years. Isaiah keeps his voice steady, but inside he's shaking. I told you in class. My father taught me. Ah, yes. Your father. The dead mathematician. Hartwell's lips curl into something that's not quite a smile. Convenient, isn't it? A witness who can never be questioned. It's the truth. Here's what I think is the truth, Mr. Parker. Hartwell pulls a document from the stack. I think you found that solution somewhere. Online. In an old journal. Somewhere. You memorized it, waited for your moment, and played the hero in front of my class. He slides the document across the desk. This is a formal academic integrity complaint. I'm filing it with the dean's office today. Isaiah looks at the paper. His name at the top. Words like fraud and misconduct scattered throughout. You have 2 weeks to prove you didn't cheat. Hartwell smiles. If you can't, and let's be honest, you can't, you'll be expelled. Permanently. Your transcript marked forever. Your future? Well, let's just say you might want to keep that warehouse job. Isaiah's hands clench into fists, but his voice stays calm. I learned that method from my father's notebooks. He was a mathematician. He worked on that exact problem. Something flickers in Hartwell's eyes. Just for a moment. Your father's notebooks. Yes. And what was your father's name again? James. James Parker. The flicker becomes a crack. Hartwell's mask slipping for just a second. I've never heard of him. Hartwell's voice comes too quick. Too defensive. He studied mathematics. He was brilliant. Everyone said. I said I've never heard of him. Hartwell stands abruptly. This meeting is over. You'll receive formal notice of the hearing within 48 hours. He walks to the door, opens it. I suggest you withdraw now. Save yourself the humiliation of a public expulsion. Because that's what's coming, Mr. Parker. I guarantee it. Isaiah stands. His legs feel weak, but he holds Hartwell's gaze. I didn't cheat. And I'm not withdrawing. Then you're a fool. Just like, Hartwell stops himself. But not fast enough. Just like who? Isaiah asks. Get out of my office. Isaiah leaves. But as he walks down that hallway, one thought consumes him. Just like who? Hartwell knows something about his father. Something about the past. Something he's desperate to keep buried. That night, Isaiah makes a phone call that unlocks everything. Mom. I need to ask you something about Dad. Silence. Long and heavy. Why are you bringing this up now, Isaiah? Because a professor at Whitmore is trying to expel me. He's accusing me of cheating. And when I said Dad's name. Isaiah pauses. He looked terrified. Like he'd seen a ghost. More silence. Then a sound Isaiah hasn't heard in years. His mother crying. What's the professor's name? Hartwell. Richard Hartwell. A sharp intake of breath. A muffled sob. Mom, what is it? What happened? Come home this weekend, Isaiah. Her voice is shaking. There are things I should have told you a long time ago. Things about your father. Things about that man. What things? Not over the phone. Come home. Please. The line goes dead. Isaiah sits in his apartment, his father's notebooks surrounding him. The handwriting he's memorized. The equations he's studied for 6 years. He opens the oldest notebook, the first page. Faded pencil. Whitmore University, fall 1994. His father studied here. At this university. In this department. 24 years ago. He flips through the pages, searching. Near the back, a page torn out. Only fragments remain, but one word is visible. Hartwell. Whatever happened between them destroyed his father's life. And now it's threatening to destroy his. Isaiah drives home that weekend. 4 hours through rain and empty highways. His mother's waiting at the kitchen table. A cardboard box in front of her. The box Isaiah's never been allowed to open. I kept this hidden, his mother says, her voice barely a whisper. I thought if you never knew, you'd be safe. Safe from what, Mom? She opens the box. Inside, letters, documents, photographs. A young man with Isaiah's eyes. Isaiah's smile. A face he barely remembers. Your father was a student at Whitmore 24 years ago. He was the most brilliant mathematician in his program. Everyone said he'd change the world. What happened to him? His advisor happened. She pulls out a letter. Yellow with age. Dated February 1995. Dear Mr. Parker. Following the investigation into academic misconduct, your enrollment at Whitmore University is hereby terminated. Isaiah reads the signature at the bottom. His blood runs cold. Richard Hartwell. Department chair. Hartwell was Dad's advisor? More than that. His mother wipes her eyes. Your father developed a solution. A breakthrough. The same equation you solved in that classroom. He was going to publish it. Make his name. Change everything. And Hartwell stole it. Yes. Linda's voice breaks. He took James's work. Published it under his own name in 1995. Built his entire career on it. And when your father tried to fight back, tried to prove it was his work, Hartwell accused him of plagiarism. Of his own work, Isaiah. The university believed the tenured professor over the young black graduate student. No real investigation. No fair hearing. Just destruction. Isaiah feels the room spinning. But there's one more question he has to ask. How did Dad die, Mom? She can't look at him. Please. I need to know. You were 6 years old. Her voice cracks. He tried to move on. Got a job. Married me. Had you. But the injustice ate at him. The knowledge that his life's work had someone else's name on it. She finally meets his eyes. He left a note. Said he couldn't fight anymore. Said the system had one. And then he. She can't finish. Isaiah understands. His father didn't just die. He was killed. Slowly. Deliberately. By a man who stole his work, destroyed his reputation, and walked away clean. And that man is still teaching. Still powerful. Still destroying students. Now trying to destroy Isaiah. I'm not going to let him win again, Mom. Isaiah, please. Just transfer. Walk away. Don't let him do to you what he did to your father. Isaiah shakes his head. Dad walked away. He gave up. And it killed him. He stands. I'm going to finish what he started. And I'm going to make Richard Hartwell pay for every life he destroyed. The next 2 weeks are the worst of Isaiah's life. He files his appeal. The university requires new evidence. Evidence that Hartwell spent 24 years burying. The Academic Integrity Office gives him 14 days. 2 weeks to prove he's not a cheater. 2 weeks to expose a crime older than he is. It's never going to be enough. The whispers start immediately. That's the kid who cheated in Hartwell's class. Heard he stole the solution from somewhere online. Typical affirmative action fraud. They always get caught eventually. Students who've never spoken to Isaiah suddenly have opinions about him. His study group stops responding to messages. His lab partner requests a transfer. Professors who smiled at him before now look through him like glass. The warehouse where he works gives him extra shifts. Since you'll have more time soon, his manager says with a knowing smirk. Heard you're having some trouble at school. Isaiah doesn't ask how he heard. Bad news travels fast. Especially when someone powerful's spreading it. He stops going to class. What's the point? Every lecture feels like a trial. Every professor a potential witness against him. He spends his nights alone, surrounded by his father's notebooks. Searching for something that can save him. The notebooks that taught him everything. The notebooks that raised him. The notebooks that nobody believes are real. How do you prove a dead man's work is authentic? How do you fight a system designed to protect the powerful? Isaiah doesn't know. And every day, his hearing gets closer. Then comes the letter that nearly breaks him completely. Dear Mr. Parker. Your appeal hearing has been scheduled for November 28 at 9 a.m. November 28. The day after Thanksgiving. Please note this date falls during academic break. Faculty advocates and student representatives may have limited availability. Isaiah reads it 5 times. Each time, the message gets clearer. They've scheduled his hearing during a holiday. When the campus is empty. When witnesses won't be around. When no one will be watching. This isn't justice. This is an execution. Isaiah tries to fight back. He calls everyone he can think of. The Academic Integrity Office, closed for the holiday. The Student Advocacy Center, voicemail. Legal aid, will call you back after the break. The Dean's Office, the schedule is non-negotiable due to the serious nature of the allegations. Every door closed. Every avenue blocked. Every hope crushed. Isaiah sits in his apartment, the walls closing in. His father's notebooks spread around him like tombstones. For the first time, he understands why his father gave up. Why he couldn't fight anymore. Why he wrote that final note. The system isn't broken. It's designed this way. Built to protect people like Hartwell. Built to crush people like James Parker. Like Isaiah. Maybe Mom was right, he whispers to the empty room. Maybe I should just walk away. That's when he finds the envelope. At the bottom of his father's box, underneath everything else. A sealed envelope. Yellowed with age. To Isaiah, when he's old enough. His father's handwriting. The same handwriting from the notebooks. Isaiah's hands shake as he opens it. Son. If you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry. I couldn't be stronger. They took everything from me. My work. My name. My future. My will to fight. Tears blur Isaiah's vision. But they couldn't take you. And they couldn't take what's in your blood. You have the gift. I saw it when you were just a baby. The way your eyes followed patterns. The way you reached for my notebooks before you could even walk. Isaiah keeps reading. His father's voice reaching across 24 years. One day, you'll be better than I ever was. And when they come for you, because they will, don't make my mistake. Don't disappear. Don't give them the satisfaction. The next words hit him like a fist. Fight. Even when it hurts. Even when you're alone. Even when the whole world says you can't win. Fight. Because giving up isn't peace. It's just another kind of death. Isaiah holds the letter to his chest. His father knew. Even before Isaiah was born, he knew this day would come. And he told Isaiah exactly what to do. Isaiah doesn't sleep that night. Instead, he works. Organizing his father's notebooks. Dating every page. Cross-referencing every equation with Hartwell's publications. The pattern is undeniable. James Parker's work, 1994. Hartwell's publication, 1995. Same equations. Same methods. Same solutions. The dates prove everything. His father came first. Hartwell's the thief. But Isaiah knows the evidence alone isn't enough. Not against a tenured professor with 23 years of institutional protection. Not in a system designed to bury people like him. He needs someone inside. Someone with credentials. Someone Hartwell can't silence. Isaiah opens his laptop, Searches the Whitmore faculty directory. One name catches his attention. Dr. Lydia Moore. Associate Professor of Applied Mathematics. MIT PhD. One of 3 black faculty members at Whitmore. The only one in the mathematics department. He's heard stories about her. She doesn't play politics. Doesn't protect the old guard. Has a reputation for fighting battles others won't touch. Isaiah looks at the clock. 5:47 a.m. Too early to call. But not too early to email. He starts typing. Dr. Moore. My name is Isaiah Parker. You don't know me, but I need your help. Professor Hartwell is accusing me of cheating, but I have evidence that he's been hiding something for 24 years. Something about my father, James Parker. Please. You're my last hope. He hits send. Then waits. Minutes turn to hours. Hours turn to forever. Dr. Lydia Moore is 48 years old. MIT PhD, published in journals most mathematicians only dream about. She's survived 20 years in academia by being twice as good and 3 times as careful. She knows which battles to pick. She knows when to speak and when to stay silent. For 24 years, she's stayed silent about James Parker. Not anymore. Her office is small. Books everywhere. Degrees on the wall. A single photograph on her desk. A group of young graduate students smiling at the camera. Close the door, she says when Isaiah arrives. And sit down. Isaiah sits. Tell me everything. From the beginning. Don't leave anything out. Isaiah talks for 30 minutes. The equation. The humiliation. The accusation. His father's notebooks. The letter from 1995. Everything. Dr. Moore listens without interrupting. Her face unreadable. When Isaiah finishes, she's quiet for a long time. Then she points to the photograph on her desk. You see that man? Second from the left. Isaiah looks. A young black man. Brilliant smile. Eyes full of hope. That's your father. James Parker. We were in the same doctoral program. 1994. Isaiah's heart stops. You knew him? I knew him well. He was the most talented mathematician I'd ever met. Everyone said he'd change the field forever. Her voice drops. And then Hartwell destroyed him. You saw what happened? I saw everything. Dr. Moore stands, walks to her window. Her back to Isaiah. Your father developed something extraordinary. A solution to a problem that had stumped mathematicians for decades. It was going to be his masterpiece. His ticket to everything. The equation Hartwell made me solve. The same one. She turns around. Hartwell was his advisor. Had access to all of James's work. Knew exactly what he was developing. And he stole it. Published it under his own name. 1995, built his entire career on it. Got tenure. Got famous. Got rich. Her voice hardens. And when your father tried to fight back, tried to prove the work was his, Hartwell accused him of plagiarism. Of his own work. The university believed the tenured white professor over the young black graduate student. No investigation. No fair hearing. Just destruction. Isaiah feels rage building. You were there. You could have said something. I know. Dr. Moore's voice cracks. I was 22 years old. A black woman trying to survive in a department that barely tolerated my existence. Speaking up meant losing everything. She meets his eyes. I've carried that guilt for 24 years. I wake up thinking about it. Go to sleep thinking about it. Every time Hartwell walks past me in the hallway, I remember what I didn't do. Why are you helping me now? Because I'm tired of being a coward. Dr. Moore sits back down. And because you have something your father never had. What? Proof that can't be ignored. She pulls a folder from her desk drawer. After you emailed me, I did some digging. University archives. Department records. Things Hartwell thought he'd buried forever. She opens the folder, spreads documents across the desk. This is a research proposal your father submitted to the department in October 1994. It describes the exact methodology that Hartwell published in 1995. Isaiah stares at the papers. His father's name. His father's work. Dated before Hartwell's publication. And this. Dr. Moore pulls out another document. This is a formal complaint your father filed in February 1995, alleging that Hartwell stole his research. Isaiah reads it. His father's words. His father's pain. Preserved on paper for 24 years. The complaint was dismissed. Insufficient evidence. Your father was expelled 2 weeks later. So Hartwell's done this before, Isaiah says. And gotten away with it for 24 years. But here's the thing. Dr. Moore leans forward. Your father's notebooks. If we can prove they're authentic, that they weren't fabricated, then Hartwell's entire defense collapses. How do we prove that? We don't. We get someone else to prove it. Someone whose credentials are so impeccable that the university can't ignore them. She picks up her phone. My doctoral advisor. Dr. Benjamin Crawford. MIT Emeritus. Fields Medal nominee. The most respected mathematician in the country. If he says your abilities are real, nobody can argue. Will he help? I don't know. He's 71. Semi-retired. Doesn't take meetings. She starts dialing. But for something like this, for a chance to right a 24-year wrong, he might make an exception. The phone rings once. Twice. A voice answers. Isaiah can't hear the conversation. Just Dr. Moore's side. Benjamin, it's Lydia. Yes, I know it's been a while. I need a favor. A big one. Academic fraud. 24 years old. The victim's son. Yes, I'm certain. His name is Parker. James Parker's son. Silence on the other end. Then Dr. Moore smiles. Thank you. I'll send everything tonight. She hangs up. Dr. Crawford is assembling a panel. 3 mathematicians. Independent evaluation. You have 48 hours to prepare. Isaiah feels hope for the first time in weeks. What's the catch? One of the panel members, Dr. Gregory Sullivan from Princeton, he was at Whitmore in 1994. Isaiah's blood runs cold. He knew my father? Possibly. They were in the same program. Dr. Moore's expression darkens. He might be a witness. Or he might be another one of Hartwell's allies. I don't know which. Isaiah stands. 48 hours. 3 mathematicians. 1 chance. Dr. Moore nods. If you pass their test, the plagiarism charge collapses. If you fail, she doesn't need to finish. Isaiah knows exactly what's at stake. November 26, 9 a.m. A conference room in downtown Whitmore. Neutral ground. No university administrators. No Hartwell. Just 3 mathematicians and Isaiah. The panel sits at a long table. Isaiah faces them alone. Dr. Benjamin Crawford. 71 years old. MIT Emeritus. Fields Medal nominee. White hair. Sharp eyes. The kind of presence that makes everyone else in the room feel smaller. Dr. Catherine Reynolds. 55. Stanford. Cryptography expert. Known for her brutal honesty and zero tolerance for excuses. Dr. Gregory Sullivan. 62. Princeton. Number theory. And Isaiah now knows, a Whitmore graduate from 1995. The year his father was destroyed. Sullivan's face is unreadable. Friend or enemy, Isaiah can't tell. Dr. Crawford speaks first. Mr. Parker. You understand the purpose of this evaluation? Yes, sir. We're here to determine if your mathematical abilities are genuine. If you solve that equation through skill or through fraud. Crawford's voice is cold. Clinical. We have no stake in the outcome. We're not here to save you or condemn you. We're here for the truth. Isaiah nods. Good. Then let's begin. 3 problems. Each harder than the last. Elliptic curves. Graduate level difficulty. The kind of problems that separate students from scholars. Isaiah picks up his pencil. For a moment, his hand trembles. The weight of everything pressing down. His father's legacy. His own future. 24 years of buried truth. Then he hears the voice. His father's voice. The fragment he's carried since childhood. Numbers don't lie, son. People do. His hand steadies. He begins to write. The first problem takes 43 minutes. Expected time, 90 minutes. Dr. Reynolds raises an eyebrow. Makes a note. The second problem. Modular arithmetic with cryptographic applications. More complex. More demanding. Isaiah finds an elegant shortcut. A method that isn't in any textbook. A method from his father's notebooks. 1 hour, 8 minutes. Dr. Crawford leans forward, watching intently. The third problem. Open-ended proof construction. No right answer. Just demonstration of mathematical thinking. This is where most students fail. Where raw talent matters more than memorization. Isaiah closes his eyes. Thinks of his father's approach. Sideways. Unexpected. Beautiful. He opens his eyes and writes. 3 hours and 22 minutes. Isaiah sets down his pencil. Done. The panel collects his work. Confers and whispers. Isaiah sits motionless. His fate in their hands. Dr. Sullivan studies the pages longest. His expression troubled. Not suspicious. Something else. Something that looks almost like guilt. Finally, Dr. Crawford speaks. We'll need 30 minutes to review. Wait outside. Isaiah walks into the hallway. Dr. Moore is waiting. How did it go? I don't know. His voice is hollow. I did my best. That's all you can do. They wait. 30 minutes becomes 45. Then an hour. Every second feels like a verdict. Then the door opens. Dr. Sullivan stands there. Alone. With something to say. Mr. Parker. Can I speak with you privately? Dr. Moore tenses. Whatever you have to say. Please. Sullivan's voice cracks. This is personal. Isaiah follows him to a corner of the hallway. Away from the door. Away from ears. Sullivan can't meet his eyes. I knew your father. Isaiah's heart stops. We were in the same program. 1994, he was. Sullivan swallows. He was the best of us. The most brilliant mathematician I'd ever met. Everyone knew he was going to do something extraordinary. What happened? Hartwell happened. Sullivan's hands are shaking. Your father developed a solution. Revolutionary work. And Hartwell stole it. Claimed it as his own. You knew? Everyone knew. Sullivan finally looks up. His eyes are wet. When Hartwell accused your father of plagiarism, we all knew it was a lie. But Hartwell had power, tenure, connections. And we were scared. Isaiah feels rage building. You let him destroy my father. Yes. Sullivan's voice breaks. I've carried that guilt for 24 years. I told myself it wasn't my business. That your father must have done something wrong. But I knew. I always knew. He reaches into his jacket. Pulls out an envelope. This is my written statement. Everything I witnessed. Everything I should have said in 1994. Isaiah takes the envelope. His hands trembling. Why now? Because I saw you in that room. I saw you solve those problems. And I realized. Sullivan wipes his eyes. You're not just fighting for yourself. You're fighting for him. For a man who deserved better. A man we all failed. He straightens up. I'm not failing him again. I'm changing my assessment. And I'm testifying against Hartwell. Isaiah holds the envelope. A confession 24 years in the making. The door opens again. Dr. Crawford emerges. Mr. Parker. We're ready. Isaiah walks back in. Dr. Moore beside him. Sullivan taking his seat with the others. Dr. Crawford holds Isaiah's test papers. Mr. Parker. In 43 years of mathematics, I have evaluated thousands of students. From MIT, Princeton, Cambridge. The finest institutions in the world. He pauses. Your work today is exceptional. Problem 1, completed in half the expected time. Problem 2, you used a method I've only seen in advanced research. Problem 3, your proof construction shows original thinking at a professional level. Isaiah holds his breath. It is my professional opinion that you are not a fraud. You are a genuine mathematical talent. Dr. Reynolds nods. Agreed. The accusations against you are baseless. Dr. Sullivan stands. And I am prepared to provide testimony regarding events I witnessed in 1994. Events that explain how Professor Hartwell obtained the work he has claimed as his own for 24 years. Isaiah exhales. The first real breath he's taken in weeks. Dr. Crawford looks directly at him. Mr. Parker. Your father would be proud. November 28, 9 a.m. University Administration Building. The hearing room is cold. Formal. Designed to intimidate. On one side, Isaiah, Dr. Moore, and a stack of evidence. On the other, Professor Richard Hartwell. Confident. Smiling. Certain of victory. He has no idea what's coming. This is a simple case. Hartwell's voice is smooth. Practiced. Mr. Parker submitted a solution that no undergraduate could possibly derive independently. He refuses to explain how he obtained it. The only logical conclusion is academic dishonesty. He spreads his hands. I take no pleasure in this. But Whitmore has standards. And those standards must be maintained. The dean turns to Isaiah. Mr. Parker. Your response? Isaiah stands. His voice steady. I didn't cheat. I couldn't have. Because the method I used came from my father's notebooks. Notebooks dated 1994. A full year before Professor Hartwell published the same solution under his own name. Hartwell's smile flickers. Objection. Those notebooks could have been fabricated. Then explain this. Dr. Moore stands. Places a document on the table. This is a research proposal submitted by James Parker to the Whitmore Mathematics Department in October 1994. It describes the exact methodology that Professor Hartwell published in 1995. She places another document beside it. This is a formal complaint filed by James Parker in February 1995, alleging that his advisor, Professor Hartwell, stole his work and claimed credit. Hartwell's face goes pale. Those documents are irrelevant. James Parker was a proven plagiarist who. James Parker was my father. Isaiah's voice cuts through the room. And he didn't plagiarize anyone. He was the victim. Dr. Moore continues. We have independent verification of Mr. Parker's abilities. 3 mathematicians, Dr. Benjamin Crawford of MIT, Dr. Catherine Reynolds of Stanford, and Dr. Gregory Sullivan of Princeton, evaluated him 2 days ago. She produces their written assessments. All 3 concluded that Isaiah Parker is a genuine mathematical talent. All 3 stated that the plagiarism accusation is baseless. Hartwell is sweating now. Those evaluations prove nothing about where he learned. There's more. Dr. Moore's voice hardens. Dr. Sullivan has provided a sworn statement. She slides the document across the table. Sullivan's confession. Dr. Sullivan was a graduate student at Whitmore in 1994. He witnessed Professor Hartwell take credit for James Parker's work. He witnessed the false accusations. He witnessed the cover-up. Hartwell stands abruptly. This is hearsay. Sullivan is lying. He was never. Sit down, Professor Hartwell. The dean's voice is ice. You'll have your chance to respond. Hartwell sits. His hands trembling. Isaiah steps forward. My father was 21 years old when Professor Hartwell destroyed his life. He was accused of stealing his own work. Expelled. Blacklisted. He never recovered. His voice cracks. He took his own life when I was 6 years old. Because of what this man did to him. Isaiah points at Hartwell. And now, 24 years later, he tried to do the same thing to me. Because I walked into his classroom. Because I solved an equation. Because he couldn't stand that a black kid from the South Side knew something he never could. Dr. Crawford's video testimony plays on the screen. I have reviewed Isaiah Parker's work extensively. His abilities are extraordinary. His methods align precisely with the research documented in his father's notebooks. Research that predates Professor Hartwell's published work by over a year. Crawford looks directly into the camera. It is my professional opinion that Professor Richard Hartwell has built his career on stolen work. And his accusation against Isaiah Parker is not just false. It is a continuation of fraud that began 24 years ago. The video ends. The room is silent. The dean looks at Hartwell. Professor Hartwell. Do you have anything to say? Hartwell opens his mouth. Closes it. For the first time in 23 years, he has nothing. The dean nods. The charge of academic dishonesty against Isaiah Parker is dismissed. Effective immediately. Pause. And an investigation will be opened into Professor Richard Hartwell regarding allegations of research misconduct, fraudulent accusations, and abuse of academic authority. Isaiah exhales. 24 years. Finally. Justice. Before the hearing adjourns, Isaiah stands one last time. I didn't come here for revenge. He looks at Hartwell. The man who killed his father slowly. Who tried to do the same to him. I came here for my father's name. His voice is steady now. Certain. James Parker was a brilliant mathematician. He was 21 years old when his life was stolen. His work was taken. His reputation destroyed. His name erased. Isaiah holds up his father's notebook. He deserved to be remembered. Not as a fraud. Not as a cautionary tale. But as what he really was. A genius who changed mathematics, even if nobody knew it. He sets the notebook on the table. That changes today. The investigation takes 3 months. 4 cases of research misconduct confirmed. 3 former students come forward with similar stories. 2 decades of stolen work exposed. Hartwell's tenure is revoked. Not resigned. Stripped. His publications flagged. His awards rescinded. His name removed from the scholarship he'd founded. He isn't fired. What happens is worse. He's erased. From journals. From conferences. From the department he ruled for 23 years. Last anyone heard, he's teaching remedial math at a community college 2 states away. Making $40,000 a year. Living in a 1-bedroom apartment. He tried to make Isaiah invisible. Now he's the one nobody wants to see. Whitmore University officially credits James Parker as the original author of the 1995 paper. The Association of American Mathematicians issues a formal correction. 24 years of lies undone in a single statement. A scholarship is established in his name. The James Parker Mathematics Scholarship. Funding first-generation college students. Kids from the South Side. Kids from Section 8 housing. Kids like Isaiah. In the spring, Isaiah publishes his first paper. The Impossible Equation solved his way. The dedication reads, "For my father, James Parker, who solved this first, who taught me that numbers don't lie, and who deserved so much more than he got." Dr. Moore is promoted to department chair 2 years later. The first black woman to hold the position at Whitmore. Dr. Sullivan donates his entire savings to the James Parker Scholarship. Penance, he calls it. For 24 years of silence. Whitmore creates an independent review board for academic integrity cases. No more closed-door hearings. No more holiday scheduling. No more tenured professors judging their own victims. Mandatory bias training for all faculty. Anonymous reporting systems for students. 3 other universities adopt similar policies, citing the Parker case. 1 student. 1 equation. 1 family's buried truth. And a system that will never work quite the same way again. Isaiah's mother frames the newspaper article. Hangs it in the living room. Local student exposes decades of academic fraud. Father's legacy restored. Below it, she places a photograph. The one from the box. James Parker at 21. Smiling. Full of hope. Finally seen. A year later, Isaiah stands in front of a classroom. Not as a student. As a teaching assistant. Same room where Hartwell tried to humiliate him. Same board where he solved the impossible equation. Different energy now. In the back row, a black sophomore sits alone. Quiet. Invisible. Just like Isaiah used to be. After class, Isaiah approaches him. "You're good at this. I've seen your problem sets." The student looks surprised. "You noticed?" "Someone always notices." Isaiah smiles. "Sometimes they try to tear you down. But sometimes they're there to lift you up." He hands the student a notebook. A copy of his father's work. "This helped me. Maybe it'll help you." So here's what this story is really about. It's not about mathematics. It's about power. Who has it? Who doesn't? And what happens when someone with power decides you don't belong? Richard Hartwell looked at Isaiah and saw a target. A black kid from the South Side. Someone to mock. To humiliate. To destroy. He didn't see a prodigy. He didn't see a legacy. He didn't see a son carrying his dead father's dream. He didn't know who he was dealing with. And that's the thing about underestimating people. Eventually, they prove you wrong. Hartwell learned that the hard way. 23 years of lies. 23 years of stolen brilliance. All of it undone in 94 seconds by a student he thought didn't belong. Maybe someone looked at you and decided you didn't fit. Made you feel invisible. Told you, directly or not, that you weren't good enough. Because of your skin color, your background, your accent, your neighborhood. Maybe you're still waiting for your 94 seconds. Here's what I want you to know. It's coming. The people who underestimate you don't know what you carry, what you've survived, what you're capable of. They see your surface. They don't see your depth. Keep going. Keep fighting. And when your moment comes, make them learn the hard way. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been underestimated because of how you looked or where you came from? What happened? Have you ever had a Hartwell in your life? Someone who tried to make you feel small? Is there a James Parker in your story? Someone whose truth deserves to be told? Drop your answers in the comments. Tell me your story. The best ones might become future episodes. And if this story moved you, if it made you angry or hopeful or reminded you of your own fight, share it. Share it with someone who's been underestimated. Someone who's fighting to be seen. Someone who needs to know that the truth has a way of coming out, even if it takes 24 years. Hit that subscribe button. Because justice isn't given. It's taken. And remember this. A professor didn't know the black student in his class was a math prodigy. He wrote an impossible equation to mock him. To humiliate him. To prove that kids like him don't belong. 94 seconds later, he learned exactly who he was dealing with. The hard way.